welcome to hello everyone. MJ here. It is Thursday night. It's time for Taiwan Live TV. I'm here at the usual place with the boss man doing the barbecue stuff. I mean, that's cool. How are you, Matthew? Nice to see you. And welcome to Taiwan Live TV. And let's see. Hey, 老板，我就想一想，后面有网路吗？这边没有网路，就是不好。
网路哦，那到时候我会申请的。
Okay. Because he's going to move. I just had a thought, I was thinking, he's going to move this barbecue place back there behind this room. This is Win-Win's coffee shop. See, right here, I don't have my gimbal, but that's the coffee shop. You go through that door, and he's over there cooking stuff, and, that looks reversed, actually, and that's weird. I don't know why that's reversed. Huh. Yeah. Hang on, that's reversed. That shouldn't be reversed. Flip front-facing camera, okay, that's true. I need the front-facing camera flipped, but, okay. Well, notice that, that's weird. Okay, okay, sorry about that. Yeah, I had to flip the front camera, which is weird. I need to talk with Jake about that at Prism, because I would like the front camera mirrored for me, but true for the audience. Like if I hold something up, for example, if I want to hold this up and show you what it says, you can read this because it's not backwards. And it's not backwards for me, but it also means that it's not a mirror. So it's like, it's the opposite. And with selfie cameras, traditionally, it's like looking in a mirror, but it should be flipped for the audience. So, for example, if I do this right now, if I flip the front-facing camera, then this is mirrored for me, but it's also mirrored for you. That looks wrong. So the Prism screen actually is a WYSIWYG, but now I just noticed that the back is reversed, and I have no idea how that happened. Okay, let me do this. Let me try to see if this flips that too. Oh, it flips the back too. It flips the back too. Then that's still flipped, see? Okay. Wow, I have to tell him about that. That's, yikes, okay. Working day, yeah, okay. We're in the middle of nowhere. That's actually not a bad place to be. Sorry, so jumping around a little bit. I'm a little too animated on the table. And want to say hi to everyone on the different platforms. We're broadcasting also on. It's the last days of Periscope. I don't even know why I bother. It's funny because Periscope has always been a fickle mistress for me. I've had like some fairly large broadcasts of 15,000 people maybe, and with replays maybe more. When I've been featured, I think once or twice, I forget. And that's not what I do it for, but YouTube, I have low view numbers, but I have high retention numbers, relatively speaking. In other words, fewer people are looking at my videos, but the ones who are looking at it are watching it for a long period of time. That's good. That's a good thing. But with Periscope, one day I'll get 50 views, and next day I'll get 5,000 views. I'm not kidding. It's like that. If you look at my history in Periscope. But you're going to have to hurry, because they're going to be gone soon. And I guess I should see if I can download all of them or whatever. Years ago I screen captured many of them, and I put them on YouTube before they made it illegal to do that. And now, since Periscope is going away, I guess it doesn't matter. I guess you could screen capture them all you want, put them on YouTube. There's anything to do about it. Oh, we'll cancel your Periscope account. Go ahead. So anyways, you can see from the title, most of you will be watching this in the replay probably. But my friend Grady, who we talked about before, longtime personal friend of mine in the Boston area, he got me into the radio business, and I mean, I eventually ended up with a national talk show for a while, and I was a broadcast engineer in Boston. He also has some of the best ears I've ever known, and he was also really good at being super critical about things that I was doing. Like, I mean that in a good way. I don't mean like complaining. I mean like he would help me critique, I guess is a better word. To improve my mixing and even singing and playing and things like that. So I would play something for him, and he would give me the critical aspects first, what he heard wrong or just not right, and then later on he would also commend me and tell me all the good things that I did, which is what you need to hear. And so Grady has been trying to with the worldwide pandemic, there's no way I'm going back to the United States. And he's been wanting me to go with him to see Todd Rundgren. I saw Todd with him probably about 20 years ago. Todd was doing the TRI shows, but now he's got another tour, virtual tour. So Grady bought me a ticket for a virtual tour, a virtual concert rather. And this is the logo for it. They call it the Clearly Human Live Virtual Tour. Now, I read about this a couple weeks ago. It's pretty interesting. I'm going to pull the camera a little closer because we got some, obviously these are customers, so they got the right to be here and talk. But Todd is doing a series of concerts that represent different venues in the United States, different cities, and he's localizing it for different cities. It's pretty interesting concept. Of course, he's always been ahead of the curve. Guy's a genius, and he's always done things before anybody else. It's amazing. I remember many years ago he released a CD that had tracks that you could mix yourself. You could change the amount of like vocals and instruments and things in the mix on the CD. It's pretty interesting concept. He did that. That's like 25 years ago. So anyway, I read about this tour, and then it turns out that Grady wanted to actually treat me to a ticket. So he bought me a ticket to the Houston show, and it was nice. And he also bought me, which is really cool, because Grady is actually close personal friends with Todd Rundgren, and for a long time. And one of the things that Grady wanted to do was he wanted to introduce me to Todd, going back to the States and seeing Todd at a show and afterwards saying hello to him, So Todd is in conjunction with this tour, a meet and greet program. And Grady asked me if I'd be interested, and I said, yeah, I've always wanted to meet him. He actually produced an album for some friends of mine that I wanted to talk to about it. I thought it was a great album, and I have a little bit of history with that band, and so it would kind of put me in his timeline, and so I just thought it would be fun to talk about it. But anyway, I said, yeah, I would love to have a meet and greet, and he spent a lot of money on this. Now, here's what happens. It's a paid thing, Todd sits down. It's a Zoom meeting because it's on a, if it was a live show, you physically would meet Todd in person, get to shake his hand and stand next to him and take a selfie. But I connected on Zoom, and there was only one other person there with me, and this gentleman was having some connection problems. And so he dropped offline for a few minutes, and I had like 10 minutes of one-on-one with Todd. It was great. But what I want to show you, this is part of what they do for the meet and greet. And the photograph, unfortunately, isn't too good, but I photoshopped it a little bit. What Todd does is his production guys, they throw the picture of the person, and you know who that is. That's me, and that's my, you know, I got my green screen, and you guys see my tube mic and everything. So they throw that up on a monitor, and Todd stands next to it. So that's how you get a selfie with somebody from the other side of the world. Okay? But I want to show you this. I mean, he's going to kill me, but here you go. I mean, how cool is this? I mean, I got a one-on-one Zoom call with one of the greatest producers in music history and one of the greatest writers and artists, and I got to ask him anything I wanted. And I asked him probably some stuff he's never been asked before. I asked him about how does he, Todd is probably smarter than you and me put together. I mean, he's out there, man. But all his songs are about his personal feelings on things, about like compassion. We need more compassion and change myself. How can I change the world when I can't change myself? And he wrote a song about God saying, you know, get over yourself and things. So he has a lot of really interesting views, and I aligned with a lot of those thoughts and feelings, you know. But yet when he sings these highly emotional, when he talks about these highly emotional and personal topics, he's kind of detached. It's what Grady and I call a dispassionate kind of yeah, I know, I don't want to work yet. It's a dispassionate delivery. Oh, 不好意思，我需要那个小碗，对啊，谢谢。我带那个姜忘记了，不好意思。I got bootsy sauce in the zip-up protective sleeve. I got some bootsy sauce tonight, and I did not put that in the title. I didn't want to. Bootsy is very distracting, so I'm going to pour it out into the bowl. And here it is. Oh my goodness, I can smell it here. It's a characteristic deep orange color, and we're going to go for some of this. And I also have some of this really amazing hot pepper flakes got from Kaohsiung. Really, really good. 这个你看过了哈？我还有2包。So I was talking to him about, you know, the dispassionate way that he delivers some of the vocals and stuff, and it's amazing because, you know, okay, so you pay for a meet and greet. So the star's obligated to sit down and listen to you babble and try to make you feel like, you know, you're important enough to be seen with them, okay? And the thing is, you know, that person doesn't really owe you anything, and they don't have to tell you about their personal lives. I mean, most of the time it's not a big deal, but if you ask personal questions, they wouldn't answer them, right? And, you know, I was really amazed at how open Todd was about talking about this. So, hey, how you doing? Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. I don't have my hat on tonight, but it's a little bit chilly. I'd say it's probably about 24 maybe C. Nice to see you again, Frank. And the sauce is it's vinegar based, you know, apple cider vinegar based with cayenne pepper, and it's got black pepper, and it also has tamarind, some other stuff. And so anyway, it's produced by one of my good friends in the States, and you actually may know this person. But at any rate, getting to what I was saying though, he opened up with me about how when he first started out in music business, he was too shy to sing lead. He was conscious about his voice, and he said that he learned a lot. Joined a chorus in school, and learned a lot about singing from his teacher. And of course, now he's a front man, and everybody knows he has a great voice. So when I was talking to him one-on-one, basically at that point, he was asking me more questions about me. I told him I was a friend of Grady's, and he's really, really interested in what I was doing here in Taiwan. So, by the way, Frank, nobody calls me Mike. Yeah, it's an old nickname. When you travel around, when you spend a lot of time in foreign countries with other expats, you will soon find that a large portion of them are named Michael. And the problem is it just reinforces stereotypes that all foreigners are the same. But I've been using MJ for a long time. Actually, my mom encouraged me to use my initials when I was young. And her initials are MJ too, MJK also. It's pretty interesting. So anyway, this was the concert that I went to. Clearly human. That's definitely a Todd thing. And so I got to tell you, it was 2 hours long. You know, Todd is 73 years old, man. And he's got stamina. He sings like a much younger person. Band was hot. Songs were impeccable, you know. Of course, his songwriting is phenomenal. But on reflection, see, the concert was at nighttime. It was my morning time. It was like 10 o'clock in the morning, my time. And I thought about it the whole day. So this is yesterday. I thought about it the whole day. And I've concluded now that Todd Rundgren is the most professional entertainer in the world. Now, I used to think it was Eddie Cornelius. When I was 22, I was on the road playing in a band and, you know, just playing clubs and stuff. And I was a working musician, and I made my living playing music, so it didn't matter what we played, you know. And we were playing in a Hilton Hotel in Raleigh, North Carolina. Eddie Cornelius came down and sat in with the band, you know, and he's an incredible entertainer. We're supposed to go to we're waiting for you to finish that sentence, Matthew. Thank you. He's really smooth and graceful and kind. But concert, okay. I hope so happens too. Now, you guys are supposed to be getting the jab pretty soon, right? I mean, that's, you know, you're going to get it faster than we get it in Taiwan, but we don't have a big problem here. We don't have any local transmission here. Taiwan just suffered our 10th death, number 10, in the whole pandemic. We have the population of Australia on Taiwan. But the thing that turned my opinion towards Todd is his humility, modesty. Really amazing. And Grady told me about that, you know, and how just cool and down to earth he is, and he absolutely is. So at the end of our Zoom call, I told him that, you know, someday I was going to be returning to the States, I'm gonna be visiting Grady, and we're gonna go see a show and meet in person. He's like, cool, so that's great. If you get a chance, they're a little more than halfway through. There are a number of shows left. It is well worth it. I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, I think the shows are $35. If you want to get the meet and greet, tell them MJ sent you. Because let me tell you what happened. This is really cool. During the show, I don't have a screen capture of this, but during the show, because they're playing to a virtual audience, they have a very limited in-person audience. So it's limited to like 20 people, and they have to wear a mask, and they have to stand far apart, which is okay because they're usually dancing. But they've got a lot of screens up, okay? Because I showed you the screen of Todd standing next to me. Now imagine, they've got maybe 40 of these screens with different people on them, right? And in many instances, I saw myself, when the cameras were panning the audience, I saw myself on 3 screens several times. So Todd sees these people on the screen, and he's like, hey, how you doing? He calls people by name. And at the end of the show, he actually said, hey, MJ, is that you all the way from Taiwan? On camera, on the mic, on the show. I said, wow, that's cool. So I got to get a clip of just that. So there you have it. But Matthew, you guys should be okay for that concert. Ken. Just bumped to you. Sorry, didn't see you come in. Sorry, didn't mean to punch your eye. Was looking at the camera. Ken, how's it going, man? Yeah, you just missed my little monologue about the Todd Rundgren show. It's well worth it. He's still got it, man. 73, more than just competent. I mean, understandably, you can't, play guitar like a madman at 73, but Todd was always a great guitarist, and always had good tone. And one thing I like about him too is he does his own recording engineering, so just like somebody else you know. Me. Now I got some Bootsy sauce in the mail. I can show you the pictures real quick. This is a logo for the tour that I saw, and it's well worth it if you can get it. If you can, they have a couple of shows left, so if you want to go online and check it out, I highly recommend it. If you do, tell them MJ sent you. And on the meet and greet part of the show, Todd stands in front of a video screen of the person that, he's meeting with. So that's how you do a selfie with somebody, remotely, right? And in the Zoom meeting, there was only one other person, and he had to go offline for a while because he had some tech problems. And so I had basically a 10-minute one-on-one with Todd. It was great, man. He's just down to earth. It's, just like I expected him to be, actually. Because I heard a lot about him from not only Grady, but also from like the band New England. Yeah, it is cool. The band New England they were friends of mine. I knew all of them except John Fannin, the lead singer and lead guitarist. I didn't know him, but I knew Jimmy Waldo, the keyboard player, Gary Shea, bass player, and Hirsch Carter, the drummer. I knew the guys well. And Jimmy ended up moving in the warehouse district of Boston next to me where I built a studio. And we got, quite to know each other quite well. Jimmy's the guy that got me the audition for Kiss. Because Kiss produced their first album, and Todd produced New England's third album. And I told Todd that I wanted to thank him for doing such a great job on New England, because that was a great record. And he said something interesting. He said, it's amazing how sometimes bands will do a great record, and it's their swan song, and they break up, which I knew about. So I told him, I said, yeah, because they had asked me to take over for John Fannin when he left the band. Let me rephrase that. They had a meeting to decide if they were going to ask me. And so Jimmy told me if they, the decision was whether they were going to stay together or not. If they were going to stay together or not, they already decided that they were going to ask me to take over for John Fannin. But they decided not to stay together, mainly because Gary and Jimmy wanted to play with Alcatraz. And as far as I know, to this day, they still are. Although, in some recent years, as might be expected, New England has done a couple of reunion shows, which I would have liked to have seen. So there you go. So kind of found that interesting because I had a history with New England too. That was cool. So, all right. Recent goings on. Woo! Been working with another 80s star, just on mastering his tunes and stuff. Got some new releases. He's been out of the music business since the late 80s. Not going to mention his name, but he had a huge hit in Europe in the 80s. And this guy, he's bad. I mean, he's a wonderful, incredible singer. And he's like 10 years older than me. Doing acoustic guitar chops, just outrageous. So it's a privilege for me to work with all these talented individuals, It's really quite something. And then, sorry. Always eating. That's what we do in this show, is eat. I mean, look at this sauce. I mean, come on. And it's not tomato based. Look at that color. Wow. Still working on some of Robert Monahan's tunes, and I am also working on my own stuff. Now I'm going to reveal something here that I haven't told many people about. I have a number of multi-track recording sets. Yes, he can. Yes, he can. I have a number of sets of multi-tracks from some major bands, like major bands. What I'm saying is where somebody took the 2-inch 24-track tape and they dubbed track by track. They dubbed all the tracks individually onto WAV files, and I have many of these. And so what I like to do in my spare time and for fun in my own personal studio, using, you know, the moving fader automation and like digital files. Hey, Wen Wen, ni hao, how jiu bu jian? Yeah, everybody, you guys know Wen Wen, huh? What's more? Han Fu Hui, Fu Hui, 漂亮哎. She said my face is fat. I said, why? I said, no, it looks beautiful. So she's, as you know, it's a boss lady here. And so she's over next door. she'll come down in a minute and I'll say hi before you can. She'll come back in a second. So her daughter is the same age as Phoenix. I think when I met when she first opened the place here, she was actually pregnant with Chi-Chi. And I asked her, you know, when's her daughter going to be born? And her daughter's born like 3 weeks after Phoenix. So it's funny. There's a big difference in their height because, of course, me, you know, my foreign DNA. But so getting back to these tracks and stuff. So, ni hao, there you go. That's a good one. Excellent. In my spare time, you know, I like to mix famous songs. I learned a lot about how they used different techniques in mixing and so forth. Even though, you know, it doesn't matter if you're a senior level person or whatever, you can always learn more, right? And so I'm going to tell you something that I did. I did a mix of Boston's More Than a Feeling on my digital console. Now everybody knows this song. It's significantly different than the original. And I mastered it using some fairly sophisticated tools. And I sent a copy of it to Grady, whom I trust. And Grady paid me probably the highest compliment I've ever gotten as an engineer. He said that based on that one mix and how it sounds, that I'm probably one of the 5 top mastering engineers that he's ever heard, and he's heard them all. And I was like, wow, I dropped off my chair. Because I only started getting into mastering recently, because I'm a mixing engineer. Mixing and mastering are totally different, almost opposite, almost diametric disciplines, but I needed to understand mastering in order to be a better mix engineer. And so I just dove in with 2 feet. I made a lot of mistakes, did a lot of things, but I learned quick. And I mean, I don't take 30 supplements and half of them for cognitive functions, you know, for nothing. That was a joke. I actually do take them, but yeah. But the thing is I learned a lot from these other mixes, and then that helped me to form the correct workflow and mindset for it is really, it's amazing, you know, for mastering. And so now this mix is making its way around the engineering community, as some other people are hearing it. Of course, you know, we're not sharing it with anybody, we're not putting it online, but actually, if I wanted to, I could do the appropriate paperwork and I could release that as a new mix. And I am strongly considering doing that. Grady told me something. He said, if my mix was released now, the song would be a worldwide hit all over again. I thought that was incredible that he said that. And he told me there's one other thing that he said that just blew me away. And he wrote these things in an email. So I've been reading them over and over because I'm trying to understand. He said that if it was ethical, that he would take my mix to all the radio stations that he's the chief engineer for, and he would replace the original with my mix. So whenever they play that song, it would be my mix. Can you believe that? That's like, that is, well, so for a mixing engineer, mastering engineer, that's like the highest compliment. I mean, I was like, now here, okay, so I live in Taiwan, right? So who can I tell? Hey, Wen, let me tell you something. Try saying all that in Chinese. Suppose I could, but yeah. Chinese technical language is like a separate language. Pretty interesting. So, you can leave a comment down the bottom and tell me whether you think I should release that. Galara, how you doing? Nice to see you. Fist bump to you. Let me tell you how it works though. With YouTube, I would just, because it's audio, there's no video, I could just do like a slide or slideshow or just a visualization of some kind. But I could post that to YouTube, and their copyright algorithm would eventually find it and just credit it to Tom Schultz as the writer. And I think it would be okay. I don't think anything bad would happen if I did that. But I think it would freak people in the audio world out because I mixed it entirely within the Behringer X32 console environment without any external plugins. You know, I just used the DAW for playback, but I mixed it on the desk, you know, with faders and knobs and stuff. I didn't mix it with a mouse, with automation envelopes and stuff, and a DAW. And then I did mix it with plugins in the DAW. Excuse me, I did master it in plugins with the DAW, but I didn't use like, I have Ozone 9 mastering software, and I have TC Electronic Finalizer mastering software. Excuse me, but I didn't use like the Ozone mothership and you know, and have it analyze all these things and come up with its own, you know, mastering suggestions. I mastered it with discrete plugins. I did what I thought I should do. And the final thing that I did was, which is interesting, I went to the original and I grabbed the EQ curve and of a particular section, and I went over to an RX8 Advanced, and then I went over to my mix and I applied that EQ, and it really worked great. Yeah. No. Grady Motes is the broadcast engineer that I worked with for many years, and the Goudreau from the Boston band is Barry, and Barry Goudreau's wife, sister, was married to Brad Delp, and that's how Tom Schultz found Brad Delp, you know, to sing on the record, because he'd met Barry Goudreau, and Barry said, well, you know, my wife's sister's husband is a singer, and that's how that happened. So yeah. Now Grady is he's a big broadcast engineer in Boston. So there you go. So Win-Win must be upstairs with she probably has customers upstairs. Well, she's going like this, right? She I don't know what it is, like a genes or condition or something, but many Asians can't metabolize alcohol, or they have a like almost like a foaming, like an allergy, and their face gets red, and she has that, and so sometimes I'll go in and I'll go, oh, well, your face is so red, and she's like, I drank some beer, so I saw her face, and she was going like this, and I thought she was getting ready to say my face is red, and she said, no, my face is fat. So people here are incredible. There are all kinds of beauty products for women to make their thighs and calves smaller. Instead of making them toned, you know, because if you make your body toned, then it looks the way it's supposed to be. You know, whatever curves you have, that's what you're supposed to have, right? But no, here they think, oh, a woman's legs have to be skinny and stick straight. It's just weird. And so you'll see like these adductor machines, you know, where you take your knees and you put them together, right? You see those. And I see these women, different places that I go that have exercise equipment and machines. These women are relentlessly doing these adductor exercises, think is going to make their calves and their thighs smaller. So that's okay. I don't know what Prevagen is, but I'm going to tell you right now, if it's a drug made in the United States by Big Pharma, I wouldn't take it. Just like statins, Dr. Sears takes those statins off. He takes his patients off statins, so yeah. I went to the Sears Institute for Anti-Aging in 2018. I spent about $3,000 on like some Star Trek level tests. And the information they gave me back and the supplement recommendations that they gave me were incredible. And so I'm 65. I'm going to tell you, I have a very high energy level, like around 35. Wen, 你喝酒吗？有。你的那个 fans 他们说你好。你好。Fans. So this is Wen. 对，你的 fans. This is Wen. She's 我介绍你好。She's from Vietnam and she moved here quite a while ago. She has Taiwan citizenship, and she and her husband opened like a Thai style noodle shop and Thai food place. And this place here where I'm sitting is a coffee shop, and they got karaoke rooms upstairs, and they have the barbecue place here. So, 他说，你看下个礼拜他在后面是不是他换地方吗？谁？他在后面吗？懂我意思吗？那个老板他换地方啊，我 OK， 就是那边比较好吗？我不晓得。因为我也没有了，我移到台中。啊 OK， 小贝没有来。真的吗？其实。我那边自己后面自己水沟啊，不痛啊。后面？OK。OK。后来我看看。Yeah, she's telling me a little bit about her, some of her plans here. So, 她说，她学英文，你好，文。你好。太累了。你很累哈。今天没有睡饱。Oh, I heard she's really tired. So yes. 你要吃白萝卜吗？什么？白萝卜。什么意思？那个煮汤。汤什么？哦，没有，那个相片呢？没有哈。Good. Guys used to send, well, you know, viewers of my show used to send postcards here, right? So she's asking about that. So this one. Oh, sorry. Oh, she showed me. Okay, I completely misunderstood what she said. Okay. Yeah. She showed me. Wow, that word. I just learned a new word in Chinese. We call it daikon in English, which is from the Japanese word, you know. But she's talking about she has a lot of these white radishes and so forth. So So anyway, I have to either go back and watch this stream again and pause it and listen, or I got to go later on and talk to her. But what she was saying, it didn't seem to make sense. But the boss said he's moving to the back, and she's talking about doing something with fruit over there. So I don't know. I don't know. I get the impression. What I think she means is, because she has this building and she has the other building over there, I think she's going to leave that building and just bring everything over here. So actually that would be a lot better. But they do have a kitchen in this room too, and so they should really, I mean, in my opinion, they should consolidate everything. It makes total sense. But Taiwan is a place where it's so easy to set up a business, and like if you wanted to, if I wanted to, right, I could rent this little space out here. They got you know, like they got a grill oven and deep fryer, and they've got, you can see that there's behind me, like they got the refrigerator case and stuff, and you can rent this place and just operate it, and you could do, you know, barbecue stuff, deep fried stuff. You do like chicken nuggets, onion rings, you know, whatever you want. And you know, all these places have their own family recipes and techniques and sauces and stuff. This is a place where you can make things happen and do business. And you know, I gotta tell you, my first like 10 years I lived in Taiwan, I earned more money than I earned my whole life up to that point in America. It's an incredible place to do business and make money. And people will listen to you, because I've had so many business ideas and I developed business plans in the States, and could get people to listen. Or I could get people to listen, like in Lynn, when I met with the mayor's you know, assistant back in the mid-90s about putting a big recording studio in the cyber district that would be connected to the internet. Nobody had ever done that before, and I came up with the idea. I wrote a white paper on it. They wanted to do it. Oh yeah, we're sold, yeah. We want to know what we can do to help. Well, give me the money. I'm an engineer. I'm not a financier. Couldn't get the money. The mayor gave us his personal contacts, you know, at the Better Business Bureau and another place that specialized in financing startups. No. Everywhere we went, it was no. And you guys know my story. I landed in Taiwan, $60 in my pocket, borrowed some money from a friend of mine, started a business, and paid him back 2 years later. That was it. So, the other thing too, these things are less expensive here. The economy of scale is better. Our national healthcare system, I got this operation on my thumb, cost $10. Laser surgery on both eyes cost $10. It's just nuts. Food is cheaper, transportation is cheaper, more realistic, more in line with the value. Yet, Taiwanese made stuff is like Japanese things, you know. 30 years ago, it'd be closer to the standard of Chinese. The reason China even has a manufacturing sector is because over 1 million Taiwanese live there. The Taiwanese started moving there in the late 70s, taught them how to do it, and that's what happened. Only the Taiwanese didn't have the Chinese Communist Party's view of taking over the world. They just were, you know, interested in doing business. Unfortunately, the CCP made all that money, and they put it into a military buildup because they want to take over the world. And they're right over here. We threaten us all the time, but nobody's worried because no matter what you hear in the States, like, oh, China's going to overrun Taiwan in 5 years. No, it's not going to happen. First of all, everybody here is family for somebody in China. Number two, in order to take Taiwan, China would have to destroy Taiwan in the process. And Taiwan is like where all the chips come from in the world. All the chips that China needs. China knows this. China wants Taiwan primarily because of the 75 or 80-year-old feud between Mao and Jiang. But they hold grudges. But they really need the manufacturing technology here. See, China is not allowed to make nuclear weapons, so they can't have 5-axis CNC machining. But we have 5-axis CNC machining at Taiwan. And so between that and semiconductor industry, they don't want to destroy it. They want to take over, but they threaten it. And they're always going like, see how massive it is? Yeah. So, but it doesn't scare us, on Taiwan. At the end of my block is an armored division, and they're moving tanks around and stuff. And every couple of months, so you'll see trailers going by with tanks on them and rocket launchers and stuff. So they're always prepared, and they're always moving around. And so it's an interesting dynamic, and I don't get involved with it, and I don't take sides with it, but I understand it, and it's interesting to watch. But if if there was an attack, and I got to tell you, because people make mistakes, there could be an attack by mistake. But my house is over here, 2 blocks away, and the armored division's at the end of the street, so I got a pretty good chance of taking at least a piece of shrapnel. But we have a poured concrete and rebar house with, all the internal non-load-bearing walls are brick with concrete facade. So I've been through like 10 or more typhoons, and been through numerous earthquakes, and a house ain't coming down. It's not coming down. I've seen excavators here, doing demolition and trying to take some of these Taiwanese houses down, and they're full of rebar, and it's very difficult for them to do so. I mean, it takes them weeks and weeks just to knock something down, so they don't want to blow it up because everything's tightly packed. But yeah, so don't be afraid. For Taiwan, we appreciate it, but it's a privilege living here, and I really, really like this place, and it's very safe from COVID-19 because we have experience with this. Gosh, who was I telling the other day? Taiwan doesn't make disaster movies like they do in the United States. United States, you look at the movie database, United States films. They have films like, 2012, where everything falls apart and they have to make arcs to float away because the crust of the earth starts breaking up and stuff. They don't make those kind of films in Taiwan because that kind of stuff happens in Taiwan. In 2008, we had Typhoon Morakot. You call them hurricanes in the United States, but they're typhoons in Asia. Typhoon Morakot was a Category 5, and it blew into Taiwan. It slammed into the mountains. We have mountains that are higher than Mount Fuji. Okay, they're over 3,000. I think it's 3,400 meters. They're up there. Okay, so we're talking 11, 12,000 feet mountains. Okay, and that's what protects this side, the west coast, from the typhoons that come in from the east. They'll go down and they'll smash the Philippines, but if they come to Taiwan, they hit the mountains. And by the time they get over the mountains, if they can make it, it scrubs it really, really down. But Morakot came, and 2 villages disappeared. A couple thousand people just erased off the map. Boom. So we don't make disaster movies like that. Like movies like Earthquake, yeah. Taiwanese will be like, why would anybody want to see that movie? Number one, we see that all the time, but number two, that's not what you want. That's not entertainment. That's not fun. It's scary, but you know. And then we don't have movies like Contagion or Virus or all those other American-made movies like that. Because this stuff happens. I was here in 2003 for the SARS epidemic. You guys heard me talk about this a million times, right? It was scary, man. I think 500 people died. And yeah, walking down the street, man, it's like wearing a mask and being careful. So this time around, we're ready. And everybody is cool. You know, we don't have a subculture of people protesting or thinking that the government's going to be authoritarian and they're going to gain, like, you know, wartime special pandemic powers, and they're going to control the population, and then when the pandemic's over, they're not going to relinquish these powers and stuff. That doesn't happen here. We have a central epidemic command center. That's a real thing. And the central epidemic command center has a commander that was appointed by the president of Taiwan. This commander's name is Chen Zizong, and Mr. Chen is 67 years old. He's tireless. He's relentless. He's superhuman. And every afternoon he comes on national television and reassures the country that everything is fine. It's amazing. There's never anything like that in the States. You guys have no assurance of anything. Your leaders are, they're impotent and they're silent. They don't know what to do. But they won't tell you that they don't know what to do. They won't find somebody that knows what to do. But here in Taiwan, we've been through this. This isn't our first rodeo. And we're exposed to coronaviruses every year, which is why many scientists think that Taiwanese have some kind of innate form of resistance to COVID-19. And I've been here 17 years, and so I would have that too. And it's really funny because I usually don't get colds and flus, but I've had a flu, so... where do you follow me after the shutdown? YouTube, Taiwan Live TV, and also I have obviously I have Instagram, and I have a studio too. I got a studio account. That's my studio account, but I appreciate it. So yeah, Taiwan Live TV, one word, just without the dot, just like this, Taiwan Live TV, but take the dot out. If you just search on Taiwan Live space with a TV on YouTube, then you won't find me. But it has to be all together. So really, that's a good thing, though. No, it is interesting. But you know, the internet itself has a pretty good infrastructure, and of course, when it goes wireless, that's the problem. And you know, Frank, I'm pretty familiar with how it used to be there. I haven't been there for a long time, but the CDMA mobile phone system in the United States wasn't very advanced compared to some other places. And in Taiwan, it's the GSM system. So we have, you know, like my phone has a SIM card in it, and so that's a little different system. But yeah, it is. It really is. And the only thing that lacks a little bit in this is the speed of the comments. But Periscope comments come in immediately, but YouTube comments are about maybe 7, 8 seconds, maybe 6 to 8 seconds. But the building boom in Lynn, that's cool. I would actually like to go back and see that, and I'm hoping that we can do that, because it looks like by the summertime, most people in the world are going to be inoculated from, they're going to have their vaccine shot. Thank you, Eviction. Fist pump. Yeah, TaiwanLive.tv is our companion website. I have all the embedded YouTube videos there, so thank you, Ken. I appreciate it. Nice to see you. As you can see, I got the Ken rod haircut on. But before you go, we're going to play your bumper. So we'll be right back.
Hi everybody, you're watching Late Night with MJ Klein on Taiwan Live TV.
And Ken, I want to thank you so much for making that video for me. I appreciate it. And you guys, no, it's over here. Follow Ken Rod. Ken Rod's Coffee Break. You guys like coffee? Ken's a lot of fun, and he's got a lot of funny, interesting followers too. And sometimes he drops stuff, and it's fun. But Matthew, I appreciate it. I'm just razzing you, Ken. No, thank you, bro. I'm just razzing you, man. But no, it's good. So that's my Instagram, and my studio has an Instagram too, because the studio is gaining popularity now. Which is a good thing. I just got to finally release something. What's going on? I'm getting so much outside work that I haven't been working on my own music. I'm not used to that. Now, Frank, whom you see in the comments, is an old friend of mine from way back. I mean, like 30 years back. And he's actually been to the studio that I used to work at. And it was in Revere, Mass, which is probably about a 15-minute ride from where we used to live in Lynn. So I like it. I like it when you fake it. Whoa, you know, whoa, yeah. I like that. And so here, on to drive anywhere, I just go upstairs. Because my studio is on the 4th floor of my house, and that's super convenient. And my wife is like, you know, you sure you want to build a studio in a house? And I go, you don't want me going out, do you? So, yep. Even though sometimes I'm out late at night here, it's at the end of my street, and I'm broadcasting, so live streaming. It's pretty interesting, because I know two things. Number one, if I'm out late, because you guys want to keep talking, so I'm on late because then it's early in the States, you know what I'm saying? You guys want to keep going, keep talking about stuff. My wife knows what I'm doing because she can just look at YouTube, okay? So it's not a problem. The second thing is, do you have any idea how many cheating husbands I've accidentally filmed? Dozens. Yeah. Now, there's no way to send any pictures here. But you got my email, which reminds me, I do have a show email. The show email is late night at taiwanlive.tv at the bottom. Late night at taiwanlive.tv. Here, let me move that over just a tad. There you go. Late night at taiwanlive.tv. That's for the show. But Frank, yeah, you got my email. But in Taiwan, in Asia, we use Line. It's Line. That's the name of the app. Line, all capital letters, and it's a phenomenal app. It's kind of like a mini Facebook in a way. Take care. Thank you, Matthew. But it's totally secure, encrypted from end to end. But you can do chat rooms, live streaming to a room, voice calls, video calls, multimedia sharing. It's incredible. And in Taiwan, we all use it for business. It's a great app. And so many of the friends that we know, Frank, back in Lynn, are using Line, like Jason Sargent, for example. I'm in contact with Jason Sargent online. So you should just ask him. Ask him about it. But actually, excuse me. My followers know that I'm a congregation man, but our congregation has line groups. And so it's really good for business administration. It's good for information organization. It's good for bringing people together for different kinds of things. And I even have a line group for this show, like Matthew and Ken and all the other people that you've seen that are on YouTube, you know, from past broadcasts. They're all in the late night group. There's not a tremendous amount of traffic there, but it's good stuff. Like Matthew the other day, for example, posted some amazing photos from a museum in Dayton, Ohio. It's an aerospace museum. They got like the Memphis Belle, and they've got some Apollo stuff there, and just like SR-117. It's incredible pictures and things like that, you know. And excuse me. One of my followers is from Indonesia. She's been keeping us apprised of the flooding that's been going on in Jakarta, things like that. David Osaka from Japan. Most of the more famous live streamers I'm fortunate enough to know personally, and they're in. Most of them are in the line group. It's amazing. So if you want to join the line group, you can send me an email, and I'll send you an invite. You might find it interesting. We keep it, you know, pretty much non-partisan. Of course, you know, sometimes people want to make some comments, but the thing is in general, my followers follow me because I don't get into those arguments, you know, and I don't get into those kind of debates. And so I have attracted a certain demographic of people that use my broadcasts and my line group to escape from that kind of stuff that they get from the world, which is a good thing. And so we can have, you know, a dialogue, we can have a discussion, and it's calm and it's respectful. And I really appreciate that. So, and like Ken, Ron, and Matthew, I mean, Matthew here Matthew's been a big supporter of mine for at least 6 years. Ken Rod too, almost from the beginning. And so David Osaka is the best live streamer on planet Earth. And you know, he did this a long time ago, and I still can't believe it. He went to Greenland specifically to do live streaming about Greenland. Now he's in this faraway exotic place. I've been to some exotic places, but I ain't been to Greenland. And so Dave was on a boat offshore from Greenland in a field of icebergs, and he suddenly goes, I gotta make a video for MJ.
Hi, this is David Osaka, live from Greenland, and you're watching Taiwan Live TV with MJ Klein.
How cool is that? I mean, who thinks of that? I go places sometimes and I forget to even take out my phone to take a picture of something. I don't even use my camera anymore. I use my phone. I'll go, oh, I guess I should have photographed that. I'm looking at something, oh wow, yeah. Duh. So here he is on a boat, and I mean, I can't believe it. I'm gonna watch that again. That is just, I mean, here, let me do this. I want to make sure that this is, there you go. Look at that.
Hi, this is
Iceberg.
Dave in Osaka, live from Greenland, and you're watching Taiwan Live TV with MJ Klein.
Look at that iceberg, man. Yeah, and you may find Line very useful too, but that's an easy way to keep in contact. And like I said, we use it for business. When I sometimes, because you know we run the manufacturing consortium, we have so many factories that are working with us in cooperation. Whenever I come up with a new invention, most of the time I just send a Line message. This is what I want to do, and that starts the whole process. So the last thing I invented, the guitar pick, which reminds me, I got to get hot and invent something new. But the last thing, the special guitar pick that I invented, I got the whole thing done. I mean, up to the samples, just over Line. When the factory had the samples ready for me, I drove up to Taiwan and checked them out. Man, it's amazing. So there's so many things that you can do, and it's kind of like Prism, where I'm able to share the multimedia and so forth. And so it makes it really easy to communicate, you know, and the video calls. And what I like about it too is you can form a group of people, you know, a chat room basically, if you will, and you can live stream to that chat room, so they can see your video and they can hear your audio, and they can type messages to you and you can read them. So it's kind of like this. It's kind of like a mini live streaming, you know. And if things keep going the way they're going with, you know, the cancel culture and just other weirdness that's going on, I may eventually just boil this whole thing down to live streaming to my own Line group, which is really interesting because Line is owned by Naver, which is the parent company that runs Prism, which is the software that I'm using to simultaneously broadcast to these different platforms. Prism is a multi-casting software that does this multimedia playback, you know, and it's got all kinds of effects and things. I think you may have been online with me before when I showed some of this. Excuse me, but for example, if I wanted to like, let me see, if I want to like, let me do this. Yeah, if I wanted to do like some drawing, and I just pick a color, and I could just draw on stuff like this, see? Or I could, you know, if I could say, well, it's time for some Chinese lessons, so we're gonna say like, okay, we're gonna do a Chinese lesson. We're gonna say, this is a word, you know, it means beef, you know, and so, so you can do all kinds of things. So I can say, well, I want to talk about this thing right here, you know, or this thing right here. And so Prism allows you to do all these different things. And there are a number of really incredible things that you can do. Like, please subscribe to my channel, and I want to say thank you so much for joining us, because we appreciate it, and I love all you guys. Yeah, and yeah, that's just the tip of the iceberg. They've got all kinds of frames and things that are just really bizarre. I don't know what this one is. What is this one? Okay, never saw that. And things like this, and just, I mean, you could go crazy on this, you know. I don't even know what some of this is. What is this? What is it? Okay, oh, I see. Yeah, and they have categories too, like shopping, greet, love, fun, OMG, angry, sad, awesome, congrats. So if someone was, you know, watching a stream and they said, hey, you know, I did something today, or they, you know, something you want to congratulate them on or something, for example, then you can do stuff like this, and you basically just, you know, tap the screen. It said, oh, sorry. It said tap the screen repeatedly. Oh, tap the effect. I'm sorry. You got to go like this and go. Okay, that's right. You got to tap the effect. You say, okay, like this, or like this, and do it, you know, repeatedly. So it's pretty interesting. There's a lot of things that you can do with Prism, and Prism is owned by Naver, who owns Line. It's a South Korean group. And interestingly enough, using Line, I developed another Line group just for streaming tech, and it has most of the major live streamers in it. And we discuss, you know, different kinds of streaming technology. And I invited the developer of Prism to the Line group, and he joined. So we now have a direct contact with the lead developer of Prism. It's fantastic. It's unbelievable. And it just started it happened because I just started sending them emails and reporting things that, you know, because I use their software and it's great. And I commended them on doing this is a fantastic job. But I had some suggestions for ways that they could, you know, up the game, some product enhancements, and there's, you know, a few bugs and things that they needed to change. They implemented every single one of my suggestions, which has never happened before. And these guys are like, they're so down to earth and so humble and modest. It's like if you make a suggestion, they seriously consider it, which is another reason why I love living in Asia, because it's just, you know, politeness is everything here. So it's all about being polite. And I remember, I mean, one of the examples I use about this, I was on the high-speed boat from Hong Kong over to the mainland, and even though it's connected, we went the boat route over to Shenzhen. And when I got off the dock, I started taking pictures. And this is China, part of China now. And a security guy came over me, and he was angry. And he says to me in Chinese, you know, full-on Chinese, you can't take pictures here. And immediately I started apologizing profusely in Chinese, which made a huge difference. And I said, you know, excuse me, I didn't notice that if there was a sign. I didn't notice. And so I said, I turned the camera towards him, and there's a term that we use in Chinese, which is 不好意思. Let me explain this. 不好 means no or not. It means bad. And 意思 is the word that we use for meaning. Like, if you say, what does this mean? You would say, 什么意思? So, 不好意思 kind of literally means bad meaning, but it's a word that we use to express embarrassment. But it's an embarrassment of a kind where you put somebody out. We also have another word for that too, which is mafani, but that's a little bit higher level. But we're asking that person to extend tolerance and compassion and forgiveness because we have stupidly done something wrong. So I said, 不好意思, and I asked him, would you like for me to delete these photos? And he said, no, that's okay. So I completely got away with taking pictures in the forbidden zone because I was polite. But how many times have you seen these YouTube videos, especially recently? I am appalled what's going on in North America and in Europe with people getting, some happy people, they're getting taken off of airplane flights right and left just for being belligerent and dumb and difficult to deal with for no reason. And so I was watching one the other day, and just one of the, we always get these random videos and they're kind of funny. So some guy got kicked off a flight and then he got put on the no-fly list. And guess what? He can't fly anywhere. Woohoo! Yeah, that was weird. So it just pays, to be polite. It just pays to have the 不好意思 attitude. I've actually learned a lot by living in Asia and dealing with people in a different language. And learning the nuances of those languages, you know. And yeah, so, you know, it's changed me in significant ways. And I'll tell you why. I didn't realize until I moved away from the United States that Americans insult each other all the time on purpose. It's a way of communication. They insult each other. One example that comes to mind was I was having a little debate, friendly debate, with a gentleman on Twitter. He had no problem with me. We were talking about one of the live streaming platforms and the audio codec, which I incorrectly assumed was a monaural, not stereo, codec. And he had done a broadcast where he had claimed that he had broadcast in stereo on this codec, right? This is in the early days of Periscope. And so I was talking with him, and I mistakenly referred to the monaural codec. And a person whom I don't know and was not involved in the discussion tweeted a message to me and said, "Did you lose the headphones that came with your phone? The earbuds." Now, he didn't ask me, did I use the earbuds that came with my phone. He asked me if I lost them. You see, there's always this little insulting little cut that's an undertone that I didn't realize that I was doing living in the States. I don't do it anymore. And so I wrote back to him and I said, no, if you found some earbuds, they're not mine. Why would he ask me if I lost my earbuds? The correct question was, did you listen to the broadcast on your phone using earbuds? But no, he had to be insulting. What, did you lose your earbuds? And you know, I never realized this. So, I haven't watched U.S. television for 15 years. And the last couple of weeks, for some weird reason, I decided to watch some American TV. And I'm appalled at the way Americans talk to each other. Everything's insulting. Everything's so forceful and so direct. And there's another aspect that I didn't realize that went on constantly until I left, is that nobody is satisfied just giving you information. They have to change your view. They have to persuade, and they'll post 1,000 links and they'll make 100 phone calls until you finally capitulate and say, yeah, okay, I see it your way. And they don't do that in Asia. People here are free to, we're free to have our own opinions, and we don't have to force them on other people. And it's always bothered me. Sometimes I ask people, why are you telling me this? It sounds like you're trying to convince me of something. Are you? And if you are, what's your motivation? You've given me the information. I believe, could be mistaken, but I do believe that I have the ability to discern and make decisions for myself. So why are you coming on so strong? And that's really what it is. And I for years when I lived in America, I heard stories that people hate Americans around the world. I said, wow, that's weird. Why? Because everybody wants to go there, right? But then when I started traveling around, I realized, yeah, I would go places and I would see American people doing stuff in other countries, and people come to say, "Are you an American?" And I would switch to Russian or something. I would go, "Нет, American," like that or something, because I just didn't want to be associated with those people, causing trouble and just being insistent and just speak American, and how come you're using centigrade? What temperature is it in Fahrenheit? Just stuff like that. And I don't do centimeters. I don't do kilometers. It's like, well, maybe you need to go back home. So let me tell you what one of the side effects of all this is. If you ask me what the temperature is in Fahrenheit right now, I can't tell you. I don't know. I have forgotten Fahrenheit. Seriously, you guys asked me about the weather. Frank asked me about the weather earlier, and I said it was like 24, 25. I have no idea what that is in Fahrenheit. And I don't use inches anymore. I don't use miles. I only use, millimeters, centimeters, meters, and kilometers. It's a better system. There's a guy that I know from America who's one of my good friends, and he built a wood shop here. And occasionally I get him to do some woodwork for me, right? And so I'll give him dimensions in centimeters because I go down to the local store to buy my tape measure. It's in centimeters. But he brought his tape measure from America. So I'll give him the dimensions in centimeters, and I go, "Can you give them to me in inches?" Okay. So I get a calculator and I calculate it for him. So I told him, I said, "You really need to learn centimeters." It's like, "Yeah, all my life I use inches." I said, "I don't care. You need to use centimeters." Why? Well, it's scalable. What do you mean? Well, millimeters to centimeters to meters. What do you mean? Well, a millimeter is 1,000 centimeters, and so it's like, 100 centimeters is a meter. So it's like, it's scalable. And so he didn't realize that. So a couple of weeks after we had this discussion, he sent me a line message, and he says, "You know what? I've been using centimeters, and I really like it. It's more precise." I go, "Yes, it is, because the divisions are smaller." So, but all that stuff that that America did in the great engineering things were all done in the imperial system, which they have in common with England. Because in England, you can talk miles and you can talk inches and stuff, but they also had the metric system. Now, you guys know the story about the metric system in America. This is hilarious. I remember, because I lived there, they tried to introduce metrics in the supermarket. So, tomatoes, or whatever it was. Let's just use a simple, we'll use just a one-to-one. Whatever it is, it have to be some very expensive ones, but like, $1 a pound for whatever it is. Let's say it's pineapples, $1 a pound. Or it's $2.20 for a kilogram. So people would say, "Well, I don't want the kilograms, I want the pounds, because it's cheaper." But a kilogram is 2.2 pounds. So all they did was take $1 and multiply it as 2.2. It's the exact same price. And they tried to explain that, but people couldn't understand that. And I actually heard people say, when they do the price in kilometers, it's always more expensive. Okay. But I will give the gangs in the U.S. credit, because they did embrace the metric system, because they sell dope by the kilo, and the 9mm has become the weapon of choice for drive-by shootings. So they did embrace the metric system. And with that, I'm going to say good evening and thank you very much. I appreciate it. You guys take care. We've been on the air for an hour 30 minutes, which I don't know, this one and the last one, I think the one before. I usually stand for about an hour because I don't like to have a really, really long broadcast because people look at it and go, oh, I don't have time to watch an hour broadcast. But thank you so much for joining. I want to fist bump all you guys, and you take care. I really appreciate it so much. Let me leave you with this. This is my favorite image for the evening. This is me doing a one-on-one. And just so you know, so you can see, hang on, hang on, it got white out here. You can see his name, Todd Rundgren, down in the corner. That is so cool. But this is me and Todd, and this is like the coolest rock star that you're ever going to meet anywhere. Thanks, Eviction. I appreciate it, man. Thanks for not taking it the wrong way. You guys take care, and we'll see you next time on Taiwan Live TV. Thank you so much. Have a good evening, morning, afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Thank you so much. 再见，晚安，拜拜。
不用带着啊。
谢谢。